Without warning, she leaned in and kissed Amanda. The kiss was soft and tentative, but it sent shockwaves through Amanda. She pulled away, her heart racing. Amanda sat by her bedroom window, staring at the sprawling estate she called home. Beyond the tall iron gates and manicured gardens, the world carried on as if her loneliness didn't exist. Inside, her parents' mansion felt suffocatingly silent. The marble floors gleamed, reflecting the chandelier's cold, artificial light. Expensive paintings adorned the walls, but Amanda barely noticed them anymore. Wealth had never made her feel less invisible. Her parents, Mr. and Mrs. Adesanya, were constantly on business trips or locked in their studies, their voices muffled by the walls separating them from their only child. Her father's rare words of praise felt transactional, only given when Amanda excelled academically. Her mother, ever poised and immaculate, preferred to critique than connect. Amanda grew up mastering the art of silence, keeping her struggles to herself. When she was transferred to all-girls grammar school in Lagos, Amanda didn't feel excitement. It was just another environment where she would be alone. The school, while prestigious, had its own social hierarchies. Cliques were already formed, and Amanda was too timid to navigate their intricate dynamics. She spent her days observing from the edges, sketching in her notebook during lunch breaks. She drew to escape the gnawing emptiness inside her, though no one seemed to notice her talent. That was until she met Esther. It was a humid Tuesday when Esther walked into the classroom. The chatter halted as all eyes turned to her, taking in the new girl's confident presence. Esther was striking, with her natural curls pulled into a puff and a mischievous gleam in her eyes. She introduced herself casually, as though she owned the space already. Amanda, sitting near the back of the room, watched in quiet admiration. Esther was everything Amanda wasn't: bold, charismatic, and unafraid. She quickly became the center of attention, her laughter infectious and her wit sharp. Their paths crossed during a basketball game a week later. Amanda, as usual, sat on the bleachers, sketching the players as they darted across the court. Esther noticed her, jogging over during half-time. "Are you always this quiet?" Esther asked, her hands on her hips. Amanda looked up, startled. I'm just drawing." "Let me see," Esther said, plopping down beside her without waiting for permission. She studied the sketch, a vivid rendering of the players mid-motion, and whistled. "You're talented." Amanda blushed, unsure how to respond. No one had ever taken an interest in her art before. "Think you can sketch me?" Esther asked, grinning. And just like that, Amanda's world shifted. From that day, Esther made it her mission to pull Amanda out of her shell. She'd drag her to lunch, sit with her during free periods, and defend her against classmates who teased her for being quiet. At first, Amanda was hesitant. She wasn't used to someone caring so openly about her. But Esther's persistence was disarming, and soon, Amanda found herself looking forward to their time together. Late at night, under the dim light of their shared dorm room, they'd whisper secrets to each other. Amanda shared stories about her distant parents and her fear of being forgotten. Esther spoke of her parents' divorce and how it had left her feeling like a burden in both households. "You're not alone, you know," Esther said one night, her voice soft. "You've got me now." Amanda smiled, her heart swelling with something she couldn't quite name. It happened on a rainy evening. They had escaped the dormitory chaos to sit beneath a tree near the basketball court, sharing an umbrella as the rain poured around them. Esther was unusually quiet, her usual chatter replaced by thoughtful silence. Amanda, sensing something was on her mind, nudged her gently. "What's wrong?" she asked. Instead of answering, Esther turned to her, eyes searching. Then, without warning, she leaned in and kissed Amanda. The kiss was soft and tentative, but it sent shockwaves through Amanda. She pulled away, her heart racing. I don't know what this means," Amanda stammered, her voice trembling. "It doesn't have to mean anything right now," Esther said, her voice steady. "I just needed to show you how I feel." But Amanda wasn't ready for what the kiss represented. The weeks that followed were tense, the bond they had built now strained by the unspoken. Amanda's avoidance of Esther only made her realize how much she needed her. Life without Esther's laughter and warmth was unbearable. One evening, Amanda found Esther by the lake, sketching quietly. She approached hesitantly, clutching her own sketchbook. "I'm sorry," Amanda whispered. Esther looked up, her eyes softening. "I missed you." "I missed you too," Amanda admitted, tears welling up. "I don't want to lose you." "You won't," Esther said, pulling her into a hug. That night, they stayed by the lake until the stars came out, their connection feeling stronger than ever. Their happiness didn't last long. Boarding schools were breeding grounds for gossip, and it didn't take long for rumors about Amanda and Esther to spread. It started with a classmate finding one of Amanda's sketches of Esther, a delicate portrait that captured her smile perfectly. The discovery sparked whispers, and soon, the entire school was buzzing. Amanda and Esther tried to ignore the stares and hushed conversations, but it became impossible when the principal called them into her office. "You've brought shame to this institution," she said sternly. "This kind of behavior is unacceptable." "You've brought shame to this institution," she said sternly. "This kind of behavior is unacceptable." They were reprimanded and separated, their dorm arrangements changed. The distance was agonizing, but they clung to stolen moments and whispered promises of defiance. When the school informed Amanda's parents, all hell broke loose. Her father, usually reserved, exploded in anger. "You're ruining your future," he roared. Her mother, ever concerned with appearances, was equally furious. "Do you know what people will say about us?" Amanda tried to explain, but they wouldn't listen. Meanwhile, Esther faced similar wrath from her conservative family. Her mother wept openly, calling her a disgrace, while her father threatened to disown her. A meeting between the two families was arranged, but it only escalated the situation. Accusations flew across the room, each side blaming the other for corrupting their child. Amanda and Esther sat silently, their hands clutching each other under the table. But when their parents demanded they cut all ties, the pressure became unbearable. Amanda's father announced his decision to send her abroad. Esther's family declared they would move her to a stricter school. For weeks, Amanda and Esther tried to resist their family's attempts to separate them. They exchanged letters and met in secret, their bond defying the odds. But then Esther met Cynthia. Bright, confident, and unafraid, Cynthia was a stark contrast to Amanda's reserved nature. Slowly, Esther began to pull away. One evening, Esther broke the news. "Amanda, I think we need to end this." Amanda stared at her, disbelief etched into her features. "Why? What happened?" I feel like I'm holding you back," Esther said. "Maybe it's time for us to let go." And with those words, Amanda's world shattered. Amanda struggled to comprehend Esther's decision. Days turned into weeks, and her life became a blur of silence and despair. The colors in her sketchbook grew dull, her once vibrant drawings now shadowed with pain. In Esther's absence, Amanda felt the isolation she had always feared, now magnified. Every corner of the school reminded her of their time together, the dormitory, the basketball court, even the tree where they had shared their first kiss. Her attempts to reach out to Esther were met with cold indifference. Esther, it seemed, had fully embraced her new circle of friends, Cynthia chief among them. Amanda watched from the sidelines, her heart breaking anew every time Esther laughed at a joke that wasn't hers. Back home during the term break, Amanda's parents noticed her declining state. Her father remained distant, dismissing her sadness as childishness, while her mother offered hollow advice to focus on her studies. Amanda's once comforting art now felt like a mockery. Every sketch reminded her of what she had lost, and soon, she stopped drawing altogether. At school, Amanda became a ghost of herself. She avoided the cafeteria, skipped basketball games, and kept her head down during class. The whispers about her and Esther had faded, but Amanda couldn't escape the suffocating weight of her loneliness. Esther wasn't as unaffected as she appeared. Though she laughed with Cynthia and the others, a part of her missed Amanda. She caught herself glancing at their old spots, her heart aching with memories she couldn't erase. But Esther was too proud to admit her mistake. She told herself that distancing from Amanda was the right choice, even as guilt gnawed at her. One afternoon, She overheard Cynthia mocking Amanda's withdrawn demeanor. "She's so pathetic now," Cynthia sneered. Esther felt a pang of anger but said nothing. Defending Amanda would only raise questions she wasn't ready to answer. Amanda hit her lowest point when she saw Esther and Cynthia holding hands near the basketball court. It was as if someone had driven a knife into her chest. That night, alone in her dorm room, Amanda wrote a letter. "To anyone who cares. I've tried to be strong, but the pain is too much. I don't want to feel this anymore. I'm sorry for being a burden. Please forgive me." Asterisk. Tears blurred her vision as she folded the letter and placed it on her desk. She retrieved a bottle of sniper poison from her bag, a purchase she had made weeks ago during a particularly dark moment. As the clock struck midnight, Amanda took a deep breath and opened the bottle. Amanda's roommate, Tolu, returned to the dorm unexpectedly. She had forgotten her phone charger and was surprised to see Amanda awake. "Amanda," Tolu called out, her voice filled with concern. Amanda froze, the bottle trembling in her hand. But before she could act, Tolu noticed the letter on the desk and the open bottle. "Jesus Christ, Amanda, what are you doing?" Tolu screamed, rushing to snatch the bottle away. Amanda broke down, sobbing uncontrollably as Tolu held her. "I can't do this anymore," Amanda cried. Tolu didn't waste time. She called the school nurse, who immediately arranged for Amanda to be taken to the hospital. At the hospital, Amanda's parents were informed of the incident. Her mother wept hysterically, while her father stood silently, his face pale. For the first time, they realized the depth of their daughter's struggles. Amanda survived, but the road to recovery was fraught with difficulty. The school counselor visited her regularly, helping her navigate her emotions. Tolu became her unwavering support system, ensuring Amanda never felt alone again. Esther, upon hearing the news, was overcome with guilt. She wanted to visit Amanda but didn't know how to face her. Weeks later, Esther gathered the courage to visit Amanda. She found her sitting on a bench in the hospital garden, her sketchbook resting on her lap. "Amanda," Esther said softly, her voice trembling. Amanda looked up, her eyes hollow. "What do you want?" "I'm sorry," Esther began, tears streaming down her face. "I never meant to hurt you." "You didn't just hurt me, Esther," Amanda replied, her voice firm. "You broke me." Esther fell silent, unable to find the words to make things right. "Go back to Cynthia," Amanda said, turning away. "I don't need your pity." Esther left, her heart heavy with regret. Amanda's recovery was slow but steady. She began to rediscover her passion for art, channeling her pain into her sketches. With Tolu's encouragement, she even started sharing her drawings online, gaining a small but supportive audience. Though Amanda still bore the scars of her heartbreak, she was determined to rebuild herself, piece by piece. Esther, meanwhile, wrestled with her own demons. Though she remained with Cynthia, she couldn't shake the feeling that she had lost something irreplaceable. Their paths no longer crossed, but the memories of their connection lingered, a reminder of the bonds they couldn't keep.